Hello, and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, I'm going to show you some natural expressions, or idioms, to talk about situations where there is conflict in a relationship. Natural expressions, or idioms, are a great way to make your English sound a lot more natural to native English speakers. And this is particularly important when talking about people or groups who are in conflict, because people can have very strong emotions during conflict, and you don't want to say the wrong thing. That's why this lesson is really important. Let's get started. Today's lesson is related to one of my previous lessons about expressing anger, and the link for that lesson is below. But in today's lesson, I'm going to show you some natural expressions that you can use when describing when people have been angry with each other and there has been conflict. It's a topic that you may not want to talk about, but if you have to, it's very important to do it in just the right way. So let's look at some expressions. The first one is to have a falling out. For example, Scott and Tracy had a falling out. That means that Scott and Tracy had an argument or a quarrel or some kind of conflict. That means their relationship has ended. Sometimes it could have ended the relationship forever. It could be permanently ended. And sometimes it could be temporary. I guess it depends how serious the falling out is. Sometimes people can have a falling out and it's so serious that they never speak to each other again. If that happens, then you can use our second expression for today, to be on speaking terms. In the case of Scott and Tracy, from our first example, we could say Scott and Tracy had a falling out. That means they are no longer speaking to each other. They aren't speaking to each other right now, and they don't want to speak to each other in the future. In that case, we can say Scott and Tracy are not on speaking terms. We could even join those first sentences into one sentence using two natural expressions or idioms. Scott and Tracy had a falling out and are not on speaking terms. That's a really nice sentence. It sounds really natural. If you use that, a native speaker is going to be very impressed. Although, to be honest, it's not a very happy topic. Okay, now we have two expressions I want to share with you that you can use when someone is angry with someone else. That is to give an earful. For example, Jeff gave Steve an earful. That means that Jeff told Steve that he was really unhappy or even angry with him. And another expression we can use that means exactly the same thing is to give someone a piece of one's mind. For example, Jeff gave Steve a piece of his mind. Those two sentences, Jeff gave Steve an earful and Jeff gave Steve a piece of his mind, mean exactly the same thing. They mean Jeff was really unhappy with Steve and he told Steve that he was unhappy with him. Well, now you know four really good, really natural expressions to express anger or conflict in different ways. To have a falling out, to be not on speaking terms, to give someone an earful, to give someone a piece of one's mind. They're very useful, and native English speakers use these all the time. See if you can use some of these expressions next time you are speaking or writing in English, because then you're more likely to remember them. And you'll create a great impression with the person you are talking to or writing to. And feel free to write your sentences in the comments below. If you do write sentences below for us to review, be careful not to use anyone's real name. We don't want you to have a falling out with that person. Well, that's everything for this lesson. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and share it so we can help others who are learning English too. And if you have any questions or comments, please type them below. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next lesson.